I'm holding the thing. Hey everyone, so today is a very exciting day for me because it is National Coffee Day. And if there's one thing you should know about me is that I love coffee. I love coffee so much. I thought it was only fitting that I made a coffee related video. So I thought the best way to celebrate coffee is to make 3 simple yet time-consuming DIYs. First I made this little coffee patch. It's like a little coffee cup patch, has a little handle and a little golden heart. And if you don't like coffee, then you can do a lighter color brown, and that's tea. Or you could do green if you like matcha lattes. And how to make a coffee bean keychain. If you don't like coffee beans so much, but you like the look of this keychain, then you can of course swap out the coffee beans for something else, like little hearts or flowers, or really whatever you want. It's very interpretive to whatever you like. The last thing I did was a travel mug cozy. I know like a lot of people have done like mug cozies and things like that before, but have you ever seen a knitted one that you didn't have to knit yourself? So if you want to learn how to make all 3 of these or just one of these, I will put the timestamps right here if you want to skip ahead to a specific DIY, but if you want to make them all, just keep watching the video. I hope you enjoy. For the patch, you are going to need an embroidery hoop. Mine is 6.5 inches long, and I wouldn't recommend getting anything bigger than that for a small patch. Then you are going to need a cloth. The only thing that's important about this is it cannot be stretched, otherwise your patch will start to warp. And when you're cutting out the fabric, make sure there's at least 1 inch around the embroidery hoop. Then you're going to need a pair of scissors, some white chalk or whatever chalk you have. I'm using a Conte pencil. You're going to need embroidery thread, 2 colors of your choice. 1 for the cup, 1 for the drink. Metallic thread if you would like for a little detail. You'll need an embroidery needle. And you'll need some fray block. Now when you're putting the fabric in the embroidery hoop, you lay it over the side that doesn't have the screws, then you loosen the top and press it down over the bottom loop over the fabric, and then you pull around the edges to make sure that it's tight, but not too tight. Now you need to start mapping out your patch. I just took an inspiration photo from Google Images and I started sketching out my design on my fabric. This is what mine looked like when I was done. Now this is how you thread your needle. For embroidery, you only want it to be 1 thread thick, so first you thread it, then you only fold it back about 3 inches, and then you twist the needle and push the needle through the twisted embroidery thread. And then you just pull it tight. It might be a little loose, so you may have to redo it a few times while you're sewing, and then you just tie a simple knot at the bottom. And that's all you have to do. Now you're going to start sewing the base of your cup. I did it in kind of like a herringbone kind of look, so I did a diagonal one way and then the next row on top was another diagonal the other way, but you can do it however you like, whatever is less time consuming. This took me a very, very long time, and every time you run out, just turn it underneath, tie a knot, and then keep going. You're going to do this a lot of times, trust me. This is what mine looked like when I got to about the curve. Then I changed the way I did it because it didn't work with the curve anymore. So I went from top to middle, from bottom to middle, and it kind of turned into a diagonal as I went. So I just kept doing that until I got to the middle. Once I got to the middle, I did a few straight stitches down the middle to kind of make like a center line, and then I started on the other side and I kept going until I got to the middle again. Now you can start doing the top rim of the coffee cup. I used generally the same technique as I did on the top front rim of the cup, and I just went all the way across until I got to the handle. When I finished the top rim, I immediately started doing the handle. Instead of doing the angled stitch I was doing before, I just did a straight stitch all the way down to the bottom of the handle. If you want, you can use this technique, which is much simpler, through your whole cup. Now when I got to the bottom, I did the base of my cup using the same straight stitch method. This is why I started doing the coffee part. This method's a little bit more difficult. Stitch one stitch normally, and then when you come back up to start next thread, start a little bit away and then put it back in where the last stitch ended. You can kind of see how I'm doing it this way, and then I just did that all the way around the cup, and I went in like a circular motion till I got down to the middle, so it would have a contrast and be a little bit more interesting, I guess. So this is what the coffee part looks like when it's done. Now you're going to use the same method to go around the whole coffee cup, just to like kind of smooth out the imperfections and give it more of a finished look. So this is the finished coffee cup. This is a comparison of my test one and my new one. If you can also see that I went around the whole rim, top rim of the coffee cup, just to give it more of an interesting look. For the second last step, we're going to take the fray block and just lock everything in. But first we got to trim all threads on the back to make sure there's no overhanging ones. Then you're going to take the fray block and like dab it where there are any outstanding threads to kind of push them down and keep them locked into place. And then you're just going to go all the way around the coffee cup, front and back, just to get a nice hard layer around the whole edge. And now for the very last step, you're going to take the embroidery hoop off and you're just going to trim around the coffee cup, and making sure to leave a little bit of an overhang, maybe like about 2 or 3 milliliters, just to make sure that the threads don't come loose. And that's it. It may take a while, but it's definitely worth it. This is one of my favorite projects to date. Now for our coffee bean keychain. For this project you will need some oven baked clay. I'm using Fimo Soft. It's very easy to work with and doesn't take too much time. You'll need some metal jump rings or chain, something that matches all together. You'll need some eye pins and a key ring, of course. Now you're going to take the Fimo Soft and just kind of mush it in your hands for a while till it gets to the right texture for you to be able to mold it. And then you are going to roll it in your hands to make an oval and kind of push it around until you get the right coffee bean shape. You're going to press it flat on the table to get the flat side and kind of pat it into the shape that you want. Once you like the shape, then you can make the line down the center using an embroidery needle. That's what I thought worked best. And make sure that you wrap the line a little bit around the coffee bean to make it look more realistic. Now you have to leave the beans to set a little bit before you can make the holes, so you can move on to making your chain. How you do this is you take a pair of pliers, which I did not say, you do need pliers, preferably ones with built-in wire cutters. So you open the jump ring by taking one side of the pliers and just twisting it with your fingers. Then you add another jump ring onto that one and then close it. And then you turn it on the side and squeeze very, very gently to close up the gap. And then you keep attaching them until you have a chain. And then for the next one, you're going to do the same thing that you started with. Separate the jump ring with your pliers and your fingers. And then before you attach it to your chain, you're going to take an eye pin and you're just going to slip it onto the jump ring and then attach it to the chain you've started making. When it's done, it should look something like this. I had 2 jump rings between each jump ring that had an eye pin just to separate them a little bit. Now that the coffee beans are set up, you can just push the eye pin through it and then roll the coffee bean gently around the eye pin until it can come off the eye pin very easily. And make sure that there's no clay covering the holes before you bake it. Now check the instructions on your package to see how long you need to cook the clay to make sure it's hard as a rock. Now we have to attach the coffee beans to the keychain. So how you do this, you slide the coffee bean on, and then you trim about 1 centimeter away from the coffee bean on the wire. And then you can bend the wire back with the pliers until you get about a 45-degree angle. And then you can squash the wire so it fits against the pin. If you don't have wire cutters, then you can just do the end of the eye pin. This is what it looks like when all the coffee beans are attached to the chain. I think it's so cute. Now all you have to do is attach the coffee beans to your keychain, and you're just going to take another jump ring, attach it around the key ring and around the coffee beans, and then there you go, all done! Now for the travel mug cozy. This one is so easy, guys. All you need for this is your travel mug, some fray block, a pair of scissors, a leg warmer, that's the trick here, and then a thread and a needle. So first you're going to slide the leg warmer onto your travel mug wherever you want it to be placed, and then you're going to make a mark at the bottom of your travel mug on the leg warmer. Then you're going to pull the travel mug out, and you're going to cut about 1/2 centimeter below the mark you made. And because knit frays really easily, you're just going to take the fray block and you're going to go all the way around the bottom, a little bit above the edge. Now you have to wait for it to dry. Once it's dry, you can start hand sewing the bottom. So with this thread, you're going to want to make sure it's double-sided, just thread it as normal. And then you're going to I placed mine where the seam of the sock was. And the trick with this is that you have to thread the needle between the ridges. So like the raised part, you want to make sure that you're going under the raised part and over the dip, and that's going to make it a really seamless edge when you tighten it. Now when you get to the bottom, make sure you go a little bit past and then just pull out the thread a little bit so it fits around your travel mug. Then you're just going to slide it on and you're going to pull the thread till it's tight. And once it's tight enough, you can put the thread back through to the other side, and then you just are going to tie a few knots. And that's really all there is to it. Then you have your own travel mug cozy with no knitting and very little hand sewing. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed these DIYs as much as I do. Some of them are definitely very time consuming, like definitely this one, but I really think that at the end of the day it's like worth the effort. You get to say that you made these things by yourself with your own two hands, and I think that's such a cool thing and my main motivation for making things myself. And I really hope that you guys try these out. If you do, please tweet me or like tag me in your Instagram post. My handles are right here. Twitter is a little bit different than Instagram because I didn't know that on Twitter you can't put a period, you have to put an underscore, so that's why they're different. Can't change it now. Well, I'm not going to because it's done. I'm not going to go back. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you enjoyed these DIYs. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!